Since entering 2025, the question of when China's fourth aircraft carrier will be built has been discussed repeatedly on the internet, especially the tonnage, power configuration and so on of the fourth aircraft carrier are the main topics. According to the author's own thinking, coupled with the actual situation of the Chinese Navy's fourth aircraft carrier, belonging to the Fujian ship strengthened and upgraded version of the 2025 or 2026, will certainly start construction to ensure that around 2030, with 4 aircraft carriers available. Firstly, let's talk about the development of China's current 3 aircraft carriers, Liaoning, Shandong and Fujian. Among them, the Liaoning and Shandong ships belong to the 60,000-ton class aircraft carriers. The Liaoning is not a standard domestic aircraft carrier, belonging to China's unfinished Varyag aircraft carrier. Based on the continuation of the construction of the 2006-2012, the Liaoning aircraft carrier service became the Chinese Navy's first aircraft carrier. 2013, China began to build the first domestic aircraft carrier Shandong. In 2017, the Shandong carrier was launched and commissioned in 2019. The Shandong ship is basically the same as the Liaoning in terms of its basic outline and general framework, but its tonnage has increased by several thousand tons. At the same time, some of the designs and concepts on traditional Soviet-style carriers are not suitable for the PLA Navy. Appropriate adjustments and optimizations were made on the Shandong carrier, which is an optimized and improved version of the Liaoning carrier. As of February 2025, the Liaoning and Shandong are the 2 carriers in service with the Chinese Navy. After all, Liaoning and Shandong belong to 60,000 tons aircraft carriers, and the number of carrier aircraft is relatively limited. At the same time, the carrier aircraft can only ski jump take off, greatly limiting the combat radius of the carrier aircraft, mounting capacity and frequency of deployment. Therefore, after Liaoning and Shandong, China has developed a 3rd aircraft carrier, Fujian. According to the current timeline, construction of the Fujian ship carrier started around 2016-2017 and was launched in 2022. As of January 2025, a total of 6 sea trials have been conducted. According to speculation by foreign media, the Fujian ship carrier is expected to be commissioned in the second half of 2025. Compared with the previous 2 carriers, the appearance of the Fujian ship aircraft carrier can be regarded as the beginning of the past and the beginning of the future. The Fujian ship carrier adopts a conventional power configuration with 4 steam turbines, displacement of more than 80,000 tons. Foreign media projected that the full load displacement of the Fujian ship between 83,000–87,000 tons. Fujian ship aircraft carrier adopts the all-pass large deck layout, deployed 3 electromagnetic catapults. It is expected that all kinds of aircraft carriers developed by China afterwards will deploy electromagnetic catapults, even including some amphibious assault ships. Compared to the Liaoning and Shandong ships, the comprehensive combat capability of the Fujian carrier is said to be greatly improved. First, the number and type of carrier aircraft greatly increased, such as the Air Marshal 600 and other special models. Secondly, all kinds of fighters can be catapulted to take off, and their mounting capacity and combat radius are no longer restricted. The Fujian carrier is a key step for China to catch up with American heavy aircraft carriers. However, the Fujian carrier is not perfect. According to information released in the last 2 years, the Fujian carrier is in fact a temporary modification of the design. The most original version of the Fujian ship, with a full load displacement of more than 60,000 tons, used 2 steam catapults, similar to the upgraded and enlarged version of the French Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. However, just as the Fujian ship carrier is about to start construction, China's electromagnetic catapult technology, basically mature in steam catapult, electromagnetic catapult technology. After repeated comparison, the Navy decided to jump from steam catapult to electromagnetic catapult technology. Finally, the Fujian ship carrier design scheme, a substantial adjustment, tonnage increased to more than 80,000 tons, from 2 steam catapults, adjusted to 3 electromagnetic catapults. Due to the temporary modification of the design, the Fujian carrier is not perfect, and there are 2 problems that cannot be avoided. Firstly, with the adoption of 3 electromagnetic catapults, there is a certain overlap between the 3rd catapult and the waiting area for fighter planes to take off. In other words, in many cases, the 3rd catapult cannot be used. Secondly, the Fujian carrier has only 2 fighter lifts, which has a certain impact on the frequency of fighter aircraft deployment. In comparison, the Nimitz-class and Ford-class carriers of the United States Navy, which belong to the 100,000-ton class, use 4 catapults and 3 fighter lifts. So, the Fujian ship belongs to the key step for China to catch up with the American aircraft carriers. But it is not the end of the line. With the Fujian ship see trial again and again, the topic of when China's 4th aircraft carrier will be built, as well as its tonnage and comprehensive configuration, has become a topic of heated discussion. Combined with the development needs of China's Navy and the actual situation, the author believes that in 2025 or 2026, China's 4th aircraft carrier will certainly start construction 2030 before the launch, to ensure that China has the basic framework of 4 aircraft carriers. As for the service time, with reference to the construction cycle of Shandong ship, Fujian ship, outfitting and sea trial cycle, the author believes that even in 2025, China's 4th aircraft carrier construction service time, the earliest will need to be about 2032. This is because the total cycle of an aircraft carrier, from construction to service, takes about 7 or 8 years. After all, the structure and configuration of contemporary aircraft carriers are complex. Construction and testing need to be carried out step by step. Cannot be overly ambitious. Another question arises: China's 4th aircraft carrier, in the end, what configuration? The authors believe that China's 4th aircraft carrier belongs to the enhanced and upgraded type of Fujian ship, for example, called 003 type. However, in terms of the magnitude of improvement, it surpasses the magnitude of the Shandong and Liaoning ships. In response to the 2 obvious shortcomings of the Fujian carrier, the authors speculate that the tonnage of the 4th carrier, with the ship's general framework and power system remaining unchanged, should increase significantly, for example, by nearly 10,000 tons. Of the U.S. Navy's 10 Nimitz-class carriers, the first 4, with full load displacement, are only about 92 to 93,000 tons, not 100,000 tons at all. China's 4th carrier, compared to the Fujian ship, would increase its tonnage by nearly 10,000 tons to around 90,000 tons or more than 90,000 tons. Then, the overlap of the catapult and takeoff area, the arrangement of the 3rd lift, a series of problems mentioned above, could be largely solved. Perhaps people will ask, if the tonnage of the 4th carrier further increase, can the power system support it? The Fujian carrier, with 4 steam turbines, has a total output of 280,000 horsepower. The U.S. Nimitz-class carriers have a total output of 260,000 horsepower. That is to say, even China's 4th aircraft carrier, in tonnage, amounting to more than 90,000 tons, and the Nimitz-class carriers of the earlier ones, basically equivalent, continuing to use the same powertrain from the Fujian ship would be perfectly adequate. The authors believe that it is highly likely that China, in developing the power system for the Fujian, has taken into account the potential increase in tonnage for the next carrier. Because of this, there is a relatively large potential margin in the power design. Combined with the above speculation, China's 4th carrier will most likely be an upgraded and strengthened version of the Fujian ship, with the basic framework and power system unchanged. The tonnage is increased to around 90,000 tons, with a layout of 3 electromagnetic catapults and 3 elevators. However, the planning and design is more reasonable, and the 3 electromagnetic catapults can achieve full use. As for nuclear power, in fact, for the current stage of the PLA Navy, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers are not just a necessity. Large conventionally powered aircraft carriers are. Nuclear-powered carriers have the advantage of sustained endurance, but frequent maintenance cycles are also a major shortcoming.